Hello everybody, welcome to another brand new episode of Side Projects. I, as always, am your host, Simon. In this one, the largest stadium in the world. And you might be thinking, it's gotta be some like NFL or some baseball thing, or maybe even a music stadium in some big city. Well, no, it's actually in North Korea. So let's look into it. The Rungrado 1st of May Stadium in the Democratic People's Republic of North Korea, commonly known as North Korea, is the largest sporting stadium in the world in terms of seating capacity. Occupying a total area of 51 acres or 20.7 hectares, this behemoth can seat almost 150,000 people at a time. Following some recent renovations, the Rungrado Stadium offers a plethora of state-of-the-art facilities for athletes and spectators alike, which would bedazzle even the most well-traveled sports fans. Like some of the best things in the world, it was born out of a contest of one-upmanship between two competing nations, North Korea and South Korea. Normally on side projects or the sister channel mega projects, when it's like, there was a competition and some great stuff came out. It's almost always the Cold War. This time it's the Korean War. Anyway, today it hosts some of the largest and most spectacular sporting events in North Korea, aside from being the venue for some major international events. The stadium draws its name from two distinct aspects of North Korean culture. The first is the Rungrado Island, the center of the Taedong River, which runs through North Korea's capital city, Pyongyang. It is on this island that the massive stadium is located. Interestingly, the island only has two major roadways, one that leads into the stadium and one that leads out of it. Secondly, the stadium was inaugurated on the 1st of May 1989, a significant day for the Workers' Party of Korea, as it is International Workers' Day, also celebrated in some countries as Labor Day. Of course, like most things associated with North Korea, the Rungrado 1st of May Stadium has seen its fair share of controversies and disputes. However, we will discuss these in more detail later in the video. For now, let's learn more about the history, design, and specifications of this incredible piece of architecture. This multi-purpose stadium comprises a main pitch covering an area of 22,500 square meters. To give you an idea of just how massive that really is, you could easily fit 3 full-size football fields within this one pitch. With a total floor space of more than 200,000 square meters, the Rungrado Stadium offers a number of facilities including swimming pools, running tracks, and indoor halls where athletes can rest, change, and prepare for their events. The unique scalloped roof of the stadium, constructed using 11,000 tons of steel, features 16 arches arranged in a circle so as to resemble the shape of a magnolia blossom. The magnolia siboldi, also known as the Korean mountain magnolia, is the national flower of North Korea. The stadium comprises 8 floors and is about 60 meters or 200 feet tall. Seen from above, it can also resemble a parachute. Even before it had been open to the public, its unique roof earned Rungrado Stadium the first prize at the 1988 International Exhibition of Inventions of Geneva. The spectacular arenas and seating arrangements at Rungrado are more conventional. The stands form 2 large rings around the main pitch. The lower stand supports one of the largest training complexes in the world. The football pitch at the stadium is covered with natural grass, while the racing tracks are rubberized. There's some debate about how many people the stadium can comfortably accommodate at a time. When Rungrado was first opened to the public in 1989, local authorities claimed that it had seating capacity for 150,000 people or more. However, in recent years, some international sources, such as StadiumDB, a reputed database of football stadiums, have reported that the total capacity is closer to 114,000. The actual capacity may have decreased somewhat after the opposite straight stand was turned into a stage for the many extravagant performances, mass pageants, and military parades that the stadium hosts each year. In 1988, South Korea was set to host the Summer Olympics in Seoul. Wanting to present itself as the legitimate Korean state, North Korea doubled down on its efforts to organize a prestigious international event in Pyongyang. Their efforts bore fruit when, shortly after, the country was awarded the rights to host the 13th World Festival of Youth and Students in 1989. It doesn't really seem comparable to the Olympics because, well, I've heard of one and I've never heard of the other. With more than 20,000 foreign visitors expected to arrive in Pyongyang for the festival, this was easily the largest international event ever held in North Korea at the time. The Rungrado Stadium was one of the many structures built in preparation for this event. Other projects initiated for the festival include the Chongnyon Youth Hotel, Liberation Street, ironic, and the ill-fated Ryugyong Hotel, which is yet to be completed more than 30 years later. I've actually made a video all about that on my Geographics channel, which you can check out. I might link to it below, often I forget, but if you just search Ryugyong Hotel, Geographics, you will find it. Organized by the World Federation of Democratic Youth and attended by 177 countries, including the United States, this event was held between the 1st and the 8th of July in 1989. The government of North Korea spent more than a quarter of the country's yearly budget in preparation for the festival. Mercedes-Benzes were shipped in to move the foreign athletes around the country, and many expensive architectural projects were undertaken, many of which we just talked about. Ultimately, the event was widely considered to have actually been a success, with students from around the world participating in sporting competitions, political discussions, and other activities over the course of 8 days. However, it is alleged that in preparation for the 13th World Festival of Youth and Students, the North Korean government prohibited short and disabled people from entering Rungrado Island and consequently the Rungrado Stadium, because of course they did. Ever since its construction, the stadium has hosted a number of national and international events. One of the biggest among them was titled Collision in Korea, a wrestling event organized in 1995 by the World Championship Wrestling and Japan Pro Wrestling. The ARIRANG Festival has also been organized and held at the stadium by the North Korean government since the year 2002. In recent years, the stadium has hosted important national and international sporting events such as the Pyongyang Marathon, probably just a national event there, and the 2018 AFC Under-23 Championship Qualification Games. The stadium complex comprises a number of offices, training rooms, dressing rooms for the players and referees, and restricted locker rooms. In all, there are over 1,300 rooms in the Rungrado 1st of May Stadium. The structure boasts also no less than 80 entrances, which make it possible for 150,000 people, maybe, to fill the stands completely within 15 minutes. A handful of these entrances were designed to be used specifically by VIP dignitaries such as high-ranking national leaders and special foreign guests. One such grand wood-paneled entrance is flanked by a pair of golden footballs. A recent renovation ordered by Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un has added features to the stadium such as custom physiotherapy suites, media centers, boardrooms, and new high-tech changing rooms, whatever that might be. Right behind the stadium stands a new football academy built at a cost of $800,000 under FIFA's development program. From the upper stands to gigantic portraits of Kim Il-sung, the founder of North Korea, and Kim Jong-il, the last supreme leader, gaze down upon the stadium, because what would a giant government-built building in North Korea be without giant pictures of these supreme leaders? Over the decades, the Rungrado Stadium has hosted numerous athletic competitions, mass pageants, and military parades. Let's talk about those. The ARIRANG Festival, or ARIRANG Mass Games, is North Korea's largest annual gymnastics and artistic festival. It's held every year between August and September at the stadium. The name ARIRANG refers to a Korean folk story about a loving couple torn apart by an evil landlord, which is intended as a metaphor for the division of Korea. The extravaganza has been recognized internationally and included in the Guinness Book of Records as the largest event of its kind. Officially known as the Pyongyang International Sports and Culture Festival for Peace, Collision in Korea took place on the 28th and 29th of April 1995 and was one of the largest pay-per-view professional wrestling events at the time. To this day, it holds the record for being the most attended wrestling event in the history of the sport. In Pyongyang, it attracted a crowd of 165,000 people on the first day and 190,000 on the second. Famed boxer Muhammad Ali, then retired, was the guest of honor at the event. Each match was fought between wrestlers with pre-existing storylines and scripted feuds. CNN correspondent Mike Chinoy, who traveled to North Korea to cover the event, said that Collision in Korea, held soon after the death of founder Kim Il-sung, was an important stepping stone in North Korea's broader diplomatic aims. Between the 18th and the 20th of September 2018, South Korean President Moon Jae-in visited Pyongyang to find a strategy for the denuclearization of the Korean peninsula in a summit hosted by Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un at the Rungrado Stadium. More than 150,000 North Koreans reportedly arrived at the stadium to witness the summit. In their presence, the two leaders gave a speech on the themes of cooperation, peace, and unification. An agreement titled Pyongyang Joint Declaration of September 2018 was signed during the event, which called for civilian exchanges, military equipment, and the denuclearization of North Korea. In July 2019, the Secretary General of the Chinese Communist Party, Xi Jinping, arrived in Pyongyang to attend a special grand mass gymnastics and artistic performance called Invincible Socialism to commemorate the 70th anniversary of North Korea's relations with China. The Invincible Socialism event took place on Labor Day and was fittingly held at Rungrado. Thousands of North Koreans participated in the special games. Xi Jinping was treated to mass aerobics displays, lavish fireworks, and a gigantic image of his face produced by thousands of performers holding multicolored flip cards as they moved through the stadium in a synchronized manner. Something every dictator will love. Each year, the Pyongyang Marathon Race is contested at the Rungrado Stadium between existing or former communist states and countries that once had been part of the Soviet bloc. In the 2010 edition of the marathon, Ukrainian participant Ivan Babaryka became the first European in almost 25 years to win. The 2020 edition of the marathon was cancelled due to the coronavirus. In 2021, the marathon will once again be open to foreign amateur runners who can choose to participate in the 5K, 10K, half or full marathon events. If you want an opportunity to see Rungrado Stadium with your own eyes, this might be the only way to do it. There can be no doubt that the Rungrado Stadium is a remarkable architectural achievement. However, since the time of its construction, the structure has been haunted by controversies, rumors, and allegations of various kinds. Due to North Korea being one of the most secretive countries on Earth, many of these controversies and rumors are hard to substantiate, as foreign journalists and investigators are hardly ever allowed to access any relevant information. Nevertheless, there have been claims of some very sinister events taking place at the stadium. Most notably, in the late 1990s, a number of North Korean army generals hatched a plan to assassinate the then leader Kim Jong-il and end the communist dictatorship that had controlled the country for decades. However, the plot was uncovered and the conspirators were arrested before they could go through with their plans. Reportedly, the conspiring generals were executed publicly by being doused in petrol and burned alive inside the stadium in front of a live audience. Between 2013 and 2015, the Rungrado Stadium underwent 2 years of renovation and remodeling, during which it was closed to the public. When visiting the stadium in 2013, Kim Jong-un reportedly found the facilities to be below his expectations and ordered a major remodeling of the structure. The Korean Central News Agency reported that the Supreme Leader wanted to remodel the stadium into an icon of sports facilities that would befit a highly civilized nation such as North Korea. Highly civilized, setting generals on fire in stadiums. Under his orders, new seating was installed at the stands and the running tracks were fitted with rubber mats. The natural grass of the football field was reportedly replaced with an artificial turf, and huge artificial lighting was added to the stadium. This massive renovation project was announced just weeks after the United Nations called on the global community to help North Koreans affected by the famine and food shortages. In January 2013, the Japanese Asia Press Agency claimed that more than 10,000 people had died of famine in the north and south Hwanghae provinces of North Korea. As renovations began, a temporary container city was built around the stadium at a time when various international news outlets, such as The Independent UK and The Atlantic US, circulated stories of North Korean citizens being forced into cannibalism due to a lack of sufficient food. In conclusion, the Rungrado Stadium has contributed much to North Korea's economy and reputation over the years. However, as long as the country remains closed and secretive, it might be hard to say for sure whether the net effect of its presence in Pyongyang has been a positive or negative thing for ordinary North Koreans. And so I really hope you found that video interesting, hopefully shedding a little bit of light on something that's rather secretive in North Korea. If you did like it, please do hit that thumbs up button below. Don't forget to subscribe. And thank you for watching.